Right now, we're going across to join the founder and director at BrightSpark Foundation SA. Welcome, Witbooi. Welcome to you, and wonderful you're able to join us this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate this.
Yes, now, we're looking at the BrightSpark Foundation, and obviously, restoring hope, building positive relationships between young people and families. But also at the same time, there are people that are very vulnerable within society, whether we're looking at youth, we're looking at women. Now, all of this actually ties in with Humanitarian Day because it is about caring. It is about
Mm.
caring for people in more ways than one. And the point I had made is the humanitarian efforts are not just limited to monetary assistance or contributions or initiatives, but also in more ways than one, because being a humanitarian means that you care for the person. And let's just go through the Bright Spark Foundation, just a brief overview, a brief background as well.
Yeah, no, BrightSpark Foundation is an organization, predominantly a foundation that was established to support vulnerable young people, specifically focusing on vulnerable communities. We predominantly work with young people who are caught in the grips of not knowing what choices to make in life, and because they don't know what choices to make, they sometimes choose to either associate themselves with with bad friends, or make decisions that lead them into joining gangs or becoming part of criminal syndicates. So our objective is to offer them an option to say that instead of going in the wrong direction or following that specific route, there's also education, there's also other activities like acting, dancing, bringing out your true potential, to basically add value to your life and to be able to say that I can actually make better decisions, and there is enough and tangible support that can help me do that. So that is what Bright Spark Foundation initially represents. We also have a very strong base of supporting the child, the parent, as well as the community. So we have that holistic view of how we can say that we don't just focus on helping the child solely, but we also focus on the environment which the child comes from, or where the youth comes from, or where the young woman or the young man comes from. So that's what we do.
Yes, but also, when we look at World Humanitarian Day, it is about, and I'm looking at the theme for this year, it is about recognizing the efforts, it is about recognizing the achievements of humanitarians in every sense of the word, and people like yourselves, people like your organization. What does this day actually mean for you personally and for your organization?
Yeah, it's a very big dynamic, because from if people understand and know where I also come from, and my history of where I was caught in as a young boy at the age of 12, joining the gangs, and becoming part of a criminal organization myself. I lost my humanity. You grow up in that sense because you don't have a father figure. You kind of like just go around hurting people because you feel that's the only way that you can get heard or seen. It is when I was in prison that I actually realized that if I'm going to continue on this trend of hurting and taking from others what does not belong to me, I'm going to lose myself completely. And it is at that moment of darkness that I completely understood the point of self-forgiveness, and then also forgiving those that I've always assumed to have been my perpetrators. I think being a humanitarian for me is literally getting back my Ubuntu. In South Africa, Ubuntu basically means I am not who I am without the other person. I cannot get anywhere in life if I do not look at the other person next to me as my brother or my sister. It is when they are in need, I need to be there to support them. When I'm in need, they'll be there to support me. But it's that situation of saying I cannot work in a silo. I need to work as a collective, or we need to work as a collective. So being a humanitarian for me means getting in touch with my humanity, my humanity, the love, the care, the compassion, that I have within me, my empathy towards other people, and to also, yeah, and grow in from a place of love. That's what I understand humanitarianism. even if
Yes,
that is.
welcome. In fact, what you're saying is very, very true because life teaches us some very, very bitter lessons. And from what I'm just hearing from you, where you're saying that, you lost your humanity. And sometimes it is the bitter lessons that we learn from life that make us a better person. Out of every negative, there is a positive. And this seems to be a very, very strong feature in terms of the motivation and the inspiration you got. And this is the reason why you are where you are today and a humanitarian in every sense of the word.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And that is why I say that when we work with young people, I always say to them that instead of looking at Welcome's past life, look at Welcome's current life. That I could have made different choices. I could have made a different decision. I may not even have been here if I had stuck to my old choices. But because I decided that I'm choosing education as a means to get myself acquainted with what I need to do to become a better product of society. And today I can just basically say thank you for people that have stood by me, that have supported me to get to where I am today. And that is why, as BrightSpark Foundation, we believe in doing the same, that we cannot just say to our young people, live a better life, make better decisions. But at the end of the day, we do not create the opportunities for them or provide them with the support to step into that direction. That is why we do our utmost best to work with many people that have the same sense of direction in helping these young people find themselves and also discover their true potential and become responsible citizens that will be, because they are the leaders of today. And that is why it is important for us to empower them and to build them and to educate them. And that's why we love the work that we do.
Well, you certainly do. And I'm sure that there are many success stories that you are able to share with us. Welcome.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we've had opportunities where we went into various communities, and kids that were caught in gangs have decided that they no longer want to be in the gangs. Where we had in situations where we had to go and speak to the principal to get them back into the schooling system. We have a few of our boys and girls that I can say that have felt that because they didn't have a father figure, they would have gone and made a very difficult decision because they wanted to survive. I can proudly say that we've got one of our girls that is currently studying at the University of Pretoria right now, doing her teacher's degree. We have one of our boys that's currently studying at Henley Business School, who's just finished his HCMP, and we've got many of them that are going into some of them are in matric right now because they've decided that instead of following the wrong path, they're doing the right thing by sticking to the process of education. I think it's Nelson Mandela that said education is the most powerful weapon. And we strongly believe that education is the most powerful weapon against poverty. It's the most powerful weapon against the social ills that we face. It's the most powerful weapon against every obstacle that we face within society. And only through education are we able to achieve what we want to achieve. And that is why we are pushing that agenda of educating our young people and also having them to step in to roles of leadership in various areas of their lives. Like I was saying, they've got recycling clubs. They are running support for other schools and other learners. They're becoming peer educators. So imagine having this boy and girl that was once part of the problem is now part of the solution, working with SAPS, working with the South African National Defence Force, working with JMPD, various elements of support that they're offering other young people their age. So yeah, I'm happy that our young people are growing to become the leaders that they are destined to be.
Well, you have every reason to be happy. Welcome. Now, I'm sure that welcome, during your life and since you started your work with the Bright Spark Foundation, you've seen so much taking place, and there must have been some very heart wrenching moments for you as well. What sticks out for you as your biggest heart wrenching moment?
I think for me, it was we had an incident in one of our communities in Westbury where we were called to a scene where there was a shooting because there was a lot of gang rivalry in that area, and a 12-year-old boy was arrested for having committed this crime. And I stood there and I was literally in tears because when I saw this boy standing there cuffed, I remember myself. I saw me in him, and I kind of like felt at that moment that as an organization, as a person, as Welcome, I wasn't doing enough. I felt broken because we could have done more to save this boy. And I think it is at that moment when we when we lose a young person to either crime, or we lose a young person to suicide, it is where I kind of like look at myself and say, are we truly doing more? Can we do more as a society, as a community? Can we come together as South Africans and just look at how present can we be as fathers? So that was the moment for me to really basically start working at myself and saying, we really need to speak to our fathers and say, be more present. Speak to our mothers and say, be more present. Not just available, but present. So there are moments when I'm sad by what's happening around me, but I try not to allow those bad moments to deter me from the bigger picture, which is that yes, we may have lost that one boy, but there's so many other boys, there's so many other girls that are caught in the same choices that he needs to make. So let us continue, push forward to help the others not make that specific decision that that boy has made.
Well, we pray, and our thoughts are with you. Welcome, and BrightSpark Foundation, that you continue pushing forward. And as I mentioned, tomorrow being Humanitarian Day, International Humanitarian Day, this is where we celebrate and we acknowledge, and we truly appreciate the huge contribution that people like yourselves are making to society. And hats off to you. And once again, we thank you. We do appreciate you taking time out, and all the best to you and to Bright Spark Foundation going forward.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Welcome, Witbooi, with us this morning, founder and director at Bright Spark Foundation SA.